today's a beautiful day. Spring's around the corner. As you can see, it's nice and beautiful outside. We're gonna have the garage crack today, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun. So let's go take a look at the parts that we're gonna install and start this project. So this is what we have for the install. We have the Mishimoto Intake. Again, this is the one that came from Joel Felix's car. We're gonna rewrap some of that gold tape on there just so it doesn't look as beat up. I mean, unfortunately that happens when you pull it in and out of the vehicle. Not a big deal whatsoever. And it does look like we will need to extract this bolt right here, and then maybe even re-tap that with a new die tap kit. I do also have from SC Concepts the battery tie down. This thing is Billet. They did a fantastic job at cutting this thing out, and as you can see, my old logo is also engraved in there. We do have these titanium bolts, or titanium nuts I should say, sorry. And those go right there on the strut tower. So we're gonna be replacing those. Just something for the brake booster. I do actually have my engine cover, which has been wrapped in that Galaxy gloss black from 3M, same thing that the roof is wrapped in. And then I also have the Civic Type R inlet pipe, and then the thermal gasket from Power Rev Racing. These guys sent this over. This is the gasket that goes between the turbo and the inlet pipe itself. Now this might get installed at a later date, just because in order to get it installed, I need to reroute a couple of coolant lines and stuff on there, which I haven't actually gone through and bought the necessary parts to do that. And to be 100% honest with you, I haven't even researched what needs to be moved around in that section. So that'll probably be a video that I do next, but probably coming in the next day or so. And then in addition to that, SC Concepts also sent out the Flex Fuel titanium badge, which will go right there. So it'll just sit over top of the Earth Dreams badge. It's still underneath there. This will just go on top of the wrap. So if I ever decide to change anything out, I can just pull the wrap off, pull that off. I do have two of them. I may end up giving one of these away. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know down in the comments, and I can set something up on the Instagram where we go ahead and give one of those away. So for those of you guys that are also curious or even new to the channel, this is the current setup that I have right now. So just a PRL stage 1 intake. We will reuse this intake hose, or the tube itself. Other than that, lots of changes that I've done. I'm also running in ethanol content sensors. So a lot of the guys out there now are running the PRL kit. I have a kit that was produced slightly before the PRL one. It does the same thing. The only thing that it cannot do is read to the K-tuner, which is fine. It still does the same thing. I do actually have a digital gauge inside the car that reads me out the percentage of ethanol content. So right now I do have a tune in there, and I do have a 28 point something, 28.9 or even 29%. Roughly 30% is what I want to run right now. But the car is tuned for that as well. So that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get to dressing up the engine bay just a little bit. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this Mishimoto Intake. We are going to take off some of these torn pieces, get it as smooth as possible, and then we're going to rewrap everything in some gold tape. So let's get to that, and then we're going to move on to potentially retapping that hole right there. the intake is disassembled. You have your intake box, which is almost similar to stock. You've got the carbon fiber cover, the screws. You've got the intake itself, which needs to be cleaned. No big deal. And then this looks like it's actually the stock plastic piece that the mass airflow sensor connects to. Sweet, so I got an extra one of those. This is one of the couplers that was cut to fit the custom setup here. And of course the Mishimoto MAF housing. Now the issue with this one, as you can see, one end is good to go. The other one has a little bit of damage to it. All we really got to do is remove that. Maybe I can sand that down, repaint it, and then I can tap a new hole. So we're gonna figure it out real quick. I just wanna see how in-depth I need to get to take that out. And then of course, obviously a good washing just to get off some of that sticky residue. And I've gotta wash the intake anyways, just to make it a little bit more breathable when we start the process. And I might as well give this guy a wash down too with some degreaser. So let me start the process of taking this guy out and let's see what we can do with it. It actually doesn't even look like it was affected, other than obviously this screw right here, but it goes down all the way, touches to the very bottom. Something made impact with that, which is fine, it's cosmetic at this point. But I can sand down this outer piece, smooth it out just a bit. Sand that down, give it a quick respray, and it does look like the threads are fine. I know it's kind of hard to see from the camera angle, but they are fine, so I should be able to use the stock nuts. I'm going to confirm though. I'm going to pull one of them out, see if I can put it in this housing and see what happens from there. Now, worst case scenario, let's say the stock ones do not fit in this. I'm hoping they do, because on my Takeda intake, the stock ones were able to fit in these holes. If I can't reuse this housing, then I'm going to get the stock one to work with it. Now, the only difference is that the stock one is just slightly smaller in diameter. I know it's kind of hard to tell right here, but the easiest way to tell is with this guy right here. You can see how it fits on there, just barely. Actually fits pretty well, to be honest. And then on this side too, it definitely fits a little bit tighter than this side. So at least at the end of the day, one of them will fit on there. But let's take off the stock screws and see if they fit on there. All right guys, so we have some good news. It looks like a while back I actually changed out the small screws that hold down that sensor, the MAF sensor. They're Torx, so it actually does give me a little bit more security as far as this system goes. And when I say security, it's kind of stupid because nobody's going to be in the engine bay. These are really more for security purposes, so nobody can just walk by and unscrew it, because they're less common. Anyways, these do fit this Mishimoto MAF housing. So, big time score. Very happy that I actually don't have to go through and re-tap that. So really, at the end of the day, all we have to do is disassemble everything. Of course, we're gonna clean all of these parts, make sure that they are in pristine condition before we install them, and then we'll decide whether or not we wanna put on more of that reflective tape. So, let's get to it. All right guys, so I've decided that I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this back up with the reflective gold tape. Everything else has been cleaned off as best as I possibly can, with the exception of the filter. And that's because I'm going to be ordering the required oil and cleaner for it. So for right now, we are going to just wrap this. So I've never done this before. I would imagine that it's probably going to be easier if I just cut this guy into strips. But who knows? Well, you experts out there that have done it know, but. So here is the final product. As you can see, I have wrapped this bad boy. I'm gonna leave the back of it as is, since it's tucked up next to the battery. Nobody's gonna see it. And to be honest, it's gonna be just a pain in the ass to try to get that wrapped. And I'll probably end up wasting tape. But this is it. So now I can go ahead and reassemble the intake. And then we're gonna get to uninstalling this stuff. part of the process, guys, is we're going to go ahead and assemble the Mishimoto Intake. As you've seen, we finished wrapping the intake box, as well as the tube that clamps onto the actual filter itself, and also where the MAF sits. So first part of the process is, of course, to put the filter on. So you've got to put that back on the filter. Asset of the filter goes in first, and then it just slides into place like so. You want to make sure that the clamp is oriented upwards. We put the rubber gasket back on, and then it just inserts like so. Okay. Now all you got to do is tighten it down. Now we're not going to go 100%, but we're going to just do tight enough to clamp on there once the box is in place and we like its final fitment and orientation. Then we will go through the process of giving everything a final tightening. But I just want to get it enough to where this piece does not fall out the rim. Now, of course, when you remove the stock air filter, I don't have the instructions for the Mishimoto, but I've done this a couple of times. So of course you want to carry over these rubber pieces from the stock box. And in order to get them out, you have to pull out this plug, and then the rubber piece can squish out, come out to the front. So you got to remove those from the stock pieces. And then also a little rubber, I'm just going to call it the connection to the snorkel. Or the snorkel itself needs to also go back on this, otherwise it's not going to work as intended. So now that this is good to go, we're going to go ahead and set it back in the car, and we're going to see how everything fits. All right, so the box is going back in. We've got the rubber piece connected to the snorkel. We slid this over to the side. Some of you guys definitely would have noticed that upon taking out these clips, I broke them. Unfortunately, living in the desert with all this dust, when you get dirt or grime in these clips, it's impossible to pull them upwards, so they broke. No big deal. I can just buy new ones. I've actually got a bunch of them in here in the garage somewhere because I've broken a ton of them already. Last thing that I do want to make you aware of course, make sure that you take out this little rubber grommet. It is sitting down there. Usually you have to pry it off and stick it back in whatever intake that you're putting back in place. So now that this is good to go, we are just going to attempt to set it back in place. We're going to see if this hose fits over yonder. And it looks like for the most part that it will fit. It looks like we're probably going to have to chop off a little bit of this silicone hosing right here. Now, it's basically hitting up against the MAF section here. It can't go any further back, and it's as far down as it can go. So yeah, we'll take out this PRL silicone hose and we'll cut off some of the front, and we should be good to go. So let's remove this. Let's take this out. We'll take it over to the workbench and we'll cut a little bit off. All right, guys, we got this out of the car. It literally took us about 3 minutes. Unscrew all 3 of these clamps, and then everything can slide out nice and easy. In order to shorten it up, as you can see, there's already a ridge inside of there. I'll probably cut along that line, and you can kind of see the indentation to it. I've got these shears. They're meant to cut aluminum metal. They can cut through quite a bit of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut downwards till I get to the edge, and then I'm going to just snip all the way around. to get the housing to fit on the PRL tube. Nothing, a little lubrication couldn't resolve. Now we're going to go ahead and put the intake tube back into place. Put back everything in the way that we found it.
Perfect.
right, guys, so that is the end of the video. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to a few individuals that definitely helped me out with what you're seeing here. So first and foremost, I told you guys already, but I want a huge shout out to Mr. Joel Felix. He hooked it up with the Mishimoto Intake. Kind of walked me through what I needed to do to adapt it to the PRL tube. It's pretty easy once you see it done, but of course, you know, these things are not meant to adapt to each other. So shout out to Joel. If you guys have not already, make sure you go follow his channel. It's According to Joel. Lots of good content, some race stuff on there. I know you guys are interested in how fast this thing is going to go, so go follow Joel's channel. Next thing is SC Concepts. So they provided the titanium nuts. Those are branded with SC on them. You can kind of see it right there. So shout out to Steve. He also provided the titanium badge. He did the custom flex fuel on there. You guys can pretty much get anything that you want put on there. If you go check out Joel's Instagram or his page, he also has a titanium badge. I just put mine to cover up the existing Earth Dreams. And then he also provided this sweet Billet Battery Tie Down. And as you can see here, you can pretty much do anything custom on there. Mine has the YouTube logo. It has my old Fahrenheit Motorsports logo. That's what I wanted on there because I can't fit the new one on there. And then of course, SC Concept is etched in there. These are pretty good deals, guys. So, I mean, if you want to dress up your engine bay, these are small things to do it with. And of course, there's more coming to kind of dress it up a little bit. But, I mean, it went from just bland stock to at least having a little bit of appeal to it. So, this is what you're looking at here. I'm gonna go drive around. We're gonna check out to see if the Mishimoto makes any additional whooshing noises. I'm hoping that it does because I had the stock box there. But that's pretty much it. Oh, also, by the way, guys, some of you guys did see on the Facebook page that Crux Motorsports and Fahrenheit Motorsports actually have collaborated now. We can provide you guys with a 20% discount using my discount code. I know you guys know there's another one out there right now, but do me a favor, if you watch my channel, if you support my channel, if you buy anything from Crux Motorsports, use my code. It is Fahrenheit to save yourself 20%. If you guys see the discount code, it'll be listed in the link, and I will mention it in the videos, and I'll get it out there. At the end of the day, I'm still gonna get the code out there. So, like I said, hopefully you guys like the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Joel. Don't forget to check out SC Concepts. And don't forget to go to Crux Motorsports. Save yourself 20% with the discount code Fahrenheit. Once again, this is Fahrenheit Motorsports. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day. Stay your asses inside. Don't get sick. Peace out.